What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again, and we're jumping into another Nightfall. We got our weekly reset. Sorry this one's coming out a little bit late this week. Had some work to take care of, but we're jumping in. We're doing the Arms Dealer this week. We've got Torrent and Time Warp 0 Hour, which these are two of my favorite. These are the best ones we literally could get. I'm super happy that we have these because these two modifiers to this make these missions really easy. So if you're not familiar, Torrent essentially means that all of your abilities, to include your grenades, your melee abilities, everything recharges faster. So as you know, with us, if you've watched any of the guides before, you're just going to spam grenades throughout the entirety of this mission. Additionally, on top of that, you get 0 hour, which means that you get the full amount of time that you can possibly have. There are no anomalies, there are no time warps, there are nothing to jump through. You don't get any extra time for killing enemies. You're going to get just about right at 20 minutes to start the mission, and that's what you're going to have, and that's the time that you have to complete it in. Now, interestingly enough, this is probably a great chance if you're looking to go ahead and try to get all of the challenges done on a Nightfall strike. The challenges for this week for this specific Nightfall are going to be to complete it in under 5 minutes, die less than 3 times, and then take down one of the flying ships. I can't remember the name of them. One of the flying ships while you're facing the final boss. If you can do those 3, you'll actually be able to complete all of the additional challenges interlocked with this Nightfall, and I definitely recommend trying it out and trying to do it. Dying less than 3 times is going to be relatively challenging, but especially if you're a Titan, which is the class that I typically like to play, for 2 reasons during these. One, just for the sole fact that the lightning grenades are so strong, even the pulse grenades are extremely strong as well, plus your shield recharges just ridiculously fast, so you can be throwing it all the time. If you're smart about it, I think you can knock this out. The only difficulty would be is you might have to run it once or twice, just to try to get and maybe focus on knocking out the 5 minutes first, and then maybe focus on taking out the other 2. But the majority of this Arms Dealer is a mission you've probably seen before. It's been a Nightfall before, and it's a mission that a lot of people, even just doing regular strikes, have probably come across, so it's going to be pretty familiar. I really didn't think the enemies throughout this were really too difficult. I don't think anything for me really felt like it was too ramped up. Now again, I am sitting at 305 power, so I've got a preferred loadout across the board, kinetic weapon, energy weapon, and power weapon that I really like. I'm comfortable with the arc subclass that I'm using, so that plays into it a little bit, but I definitely think this is doable. You have plenty of time to do this as well, so don't feel like you need to rush through any of the areas. There are a few spots where you can use your speeder, especially when you move outside. If you're familiar with EDZ and you've obviously played through the campaign, you'll recognize the spot where you're going to come outside to essentially get back onto the ship. When you get to that point, you can use your speeder there. Beyond that, though, the rest of this is pretty straightforward. Clear the areas. The final boss, the biggest recommendation I have for him, and we can talk about it here in just a second, but since we're fast forwarding through, the biggest recommendation I'm going to have is just as you're moving up the elevator to get to him, just make sure you got your grenades prepped. Everybody throws their grenades right at his feet, and I think when we moved into the boss fight portion of it, if I'm not mistaken, we ended up taking out a little bit over half health just with some supers and the grenades, the initial 2 grenade throws at least that I got, and the rest of the grenades from the team from the get-go. So beyond that, the only other recommendation I would have is I don't think you need to use your power ammo very much throughout. There is a few bosses, or mini bosses I would call them. The tanks are another good area to use that on. Beyond that, though, you're going to get a pretty good amount of power ammo drop, so you can use it. Don't be afraid to, but I would definitely recommend as you start to get closer to the boss, as you move through kind of the final sector where you have to clear it out before getting on the lift, I would definitely not use any of it then. You're going to need as much power ammo, and I found that really with the team, if the entire team has rocket launchers, that's exceptionally beneficial when it comes to the final boss fight. If you're not familiar with the final boss fight, he kind of goes into a 4-stage battle. He'll start where you'll come up the lift, you'll be able to attack him from that point. After that, once you do enough damage, he will actually jump onto a high pedestal, and he will continue to shoot you from there with kind of like a high-powered sniper rifle. But you are still probably going to have to do damage. You might not if you do enough initial damage. He'll just pop a flare and pull a shield around him. At that point, you'll have to grab a solar arc charge and slam it into the ground, essentially on the opposite corner of the map. But a lot of times what ends up happening is he goes to that pedestal and he needs to take some additional damage after that. Rocket launchers are extremely beneficial here. From that point, he'll jump down, he'll move back to the middle, right where he spawned in, and you saw him for the first time. You'll be able to get some more damage in on him, and then he'll jump to a second pedestal, rinse, repeat. The second pedestal, I can almost guarantee that he is going to stay up there and continue to shoot and will need to take some damage. But then beyond that, once you do that, he'll flare out. You'll have another ship come in, you'll have another solar charge you'll have to grab and slam in, and then after that you get to the final phase, which would be him moving back into the middle and then starting to traverse around the map, and essentially from there you just need to take him out. So again, a pretty easy Nightfall, not much of a guide, just because Torrent and Zero Hour are really the two best modifiers I think we can have for Nightfalls. The last time we did this, or last time we got these two, I recommended running the Prestige version. We don't have a Prestige version up. We'll see if we can go about doing that, but these are definitely the recommended missions to be able to do them on, because you don't have to be worried about anything additional beyond just spamming your grenades, killing enemies, and getting it done in time. So quick short guide. New Nightfall out this week. We'll continue to keep pulse on Destiny. Seems like there's a lot of stuff upcoming very soon. And as always, just really appreciate the support to the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully it was helpful for you if you are kind of new into Destiny, if you're up on PC and just starting to watch these. Please do subscribe. Again, we do appreciate all the support to the channel. I've been Doc from Average Gamer Guys. As always, thank you so very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.